Hey guys, Terry's from Smooth's Workshop here. I may sound a little bit clogged up. I'm just getting over the man flu. So hopefully you don't get too many snivels and stuff over the top. I've had to hold back on shooting the next part of this video until I was feeling a bit better. So this is part 2 of my 2.4 inch TFT digital DSO shell oscilloscope video series. In the first one we showed you what was in the kit. Now excuse me, my ears have popped and everything, so bear with me. I knew as soon as I started talking that this might not work. We'll see how we go with it. I'll give it a try. So, first part of the build. It actually tells you to power the unit up and check that the display boots up using 9 volts. There we go, coughing and everything. Using 9 volts and a supply capable of 200 milliamps or more. So I did have some little battery pack leads in that I was going to make up, but I haven't managed to find the leads that I've got. So what I'm going to use is I've got a DC input jack here, which I shall put into the bottom of the unit. So obviously it's centre pin positive, and the outside is the earth. So what am I going to power it with? Right, well I've got a bench power supply here. So I'm just going to, excuse all the mess, I'm just going to pan up. There's my bench power supply along with the soldering station I'll be using a bit later on. So let's power this up. What's it sitting at 9 volts now? Let's take that back a bit. Down to about half a volt, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the current limiting. So what we do is we just short these 2 pins out. I've got it set about 390 milliamps. Okay. It's only supposed to... We'll set the current limit at 200 milliamps. So I can unclip that now. And then we will bring it up to around about 9 volts. Either really clicking in as we go up to the next level of voltage. So that should be 8.9 volts there. So that's that set up. So let's come back down onto the beastie. Right, lock my camera off. So basically, again, excuse me, I am going to, on the centre pin, connect my positive, and on the negative, connect that up, and let's see if the baby boots up. Obviously I've still got the, and it said it should flicker like that, so cool. That part of it seems to work. So that's what they suggest you to do first of all. So that's that done. I'll just switch my power supply back off. I'll need it a bit later on for double checking things. So my screen at least lights up. And there we go. Here was me thinking I was feeling a bit better, and yeah, the sniffles have started. Right, so it's telling you first of all, let's come back into the instructions. Your test signal terminal, you need to bend it. So let's get it bent and see if we can figure out where it goes. So it's in here. Now, apologies, this might be a slightly longer video. Some people like you just to flick through things really quickly. Excuse me, I'm just going to blow my nose. Yeah, working through man flu. Some people don't want to watch the whole thing from start to finish. Some people do. So that's what the fast forward button's for. So I've got a pair of fine-nosed needle pliers here, and what they're wanting me to do is bend these 2 tangs up at right angles. Okay, what's the best way to... Yeah, let's do it this way. So I shall grab it there, and we shall do a little Oh, yeah, it's a bit stiffer than I thought. Let's give it a bit more. Just be like the thing it'll snap on me, but there we go. Try and get that to a right angle. Okay, that's one leg bent up. Obviously, it's so it can go through the board and come out straight. This is the little, on a oscilloscope, when you're changing probes or setting up probes for the first time, you have to calibrate them. On the big, sort of more professional ones, you clip your probe to a dedicated tang on the front of the oscilloscope. This one has just got a little tang that goes out the back, and it's the bit that I thought would be quite easy to do is a pain in the bottom. But we shall see if we can get it bent to the right shape. So as I say, I like my gadgets. Now, where does it go? Now, this is the only thing about this kit. It doesn't really show you. I'm assuming it's up at the back here where it shows the 1 kilohertz signal. So, let's just see what it says again in the thing. Yep, and it shows you clearly in the picture there. It's up by the 1 kilohertz circle, which is at the top of the screen. So that's easy enough. Can I get it to go through the holes? Excuse me. Right, okay, so it fits in. That's fine. So I've now got to solder that on the back side so that it's kind of straight. Okay. That's going to be a bit of fun because it will take quite a high temperature. So I'm just going to turn on my soldering station just now. I'll take it up to about 350 degrees, I think. Centigrade at the moment. Not quite sure what the thermal capacity of my soldering bolt is, but we shall soon find out. Now, I want to be able to do this without it falling out. Right. Have I got some tape? That might be an idea. A little bit of tape. Have I got some? I should have some of my modelling, my Tamiya tape. That'll do. Just to hold it in place on the back whilst I try and solder it on the other side. So I'll just get a little bit of Tamiya masking tape. That'll do the job. I'm also watching not to damage this ribbon cable as well. So it's a bit of a finicky thing. But if I can get it sitting in flush, roughly where I want it. Now what I'll do is I'll solder one pin first to make sure I can get this as straight as I possibly can. Right, it's still a wee bit skew-off, isn't it? A wee bit of a bend. Hopefully that's on camera, maybe not. Right, so I'm going to get my helping hands out to help me as well. I'll get them to hold the board so that I can, there we go. I just need to watch this little screen that I don't break it. Okay, fingers crossed. Right, so let's see if we can get the camera down so you can see what's happening here. Right, so I've got this little piece to solder in. See if I can get the angle better. And I am now going to get my soldering bolt out and see where we go. Now I am going to turn on, oh great, I should have turned all my other notifications off. I am going to turn on a fan up above me, my biggest fan. So I'm going to be using 6040 tin lead solder. Can we get it in there? 6040. For the hobbyist, I prefer the leaded solder. It gives better joints. A lot of people may remember back to the days when they switched over to the lead-free solder, which is a load of nonsense actually. And bad solder joints, and I just can't stand lead-free stuff. So I'm just going to put my fan on. If it's too loud, I might have to dub over. Hopefully that's not too loud for you guys. Right, so I will start by applying some heat. Now it's quite hard doing this under the camera. I'm going to apply some heat to one pin, a little bit of solder on just to help with the thermal mass. Now I'm expecting this will take a little bit of time to heat up, just due to the size of the piece. There we go. Is that kind of straight? It looks okay. And the same on this one. Notice I'm heating the pad and the pin at the same time, and then we'll pull the solder in. There we go, that appears to be that done. Just clean my bolt off, turn the fan back off again, and I shall, oh, excuse me, getting a little bit of reflection from above, and let's just check that joint and see how it looks. That's went on okay, it looks nice and level. I can take my bit of tape off again. Right, so that's my first wee bit of soldering. So I shall lay this back gently on the other side now. So that's a little tag that we use for clipping our test lead on. It generates a 1 kilohertz signal, so you can set up your doofre. Right, it says next there's an optional power connection. I don't see the need for that. So the next one is a slide switch SW5, which is, there was 2 switches, there's one, and there's the other, and there was a smaller of 2 switches, and it's a double pull, double throw switch, so it's this one. And, right, so we're down by the DC power jack. Right, just to stop this screen flapping about in the wind, I'm going to put a bit of tape there, a bit there, so it's not constantly flapping about and to take the strain off it. Right, okay. So this switch, it shows it on the same side as this. They haven't got that very square actually in their surface mount, have they? So this switch, again, I'm going to need to heat up a bit for the end pins, but there are 6 little connections in the middle. So on and off, the ends even back to front, but yeah, okay. So this is just a power on and off switch. Now, you might be saying to yourself, but that powered on when you tested it without the switch. There is a small resistor number 30 here, a 0 ohm link in there that you have to remove once the switch is on. Otherwise, it basically shorts out the switch. Now, where they've cut the board on this, I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of halfway through these switch contacts, which is a bit, yeah, not very good. Is it the same on the other side? Yeah, they've kind of went through the holes a bit. So at the moment, I'm just trying to get these to line up, and they are not wanting to play ball. Bit of wiggling, a bit of persuasion. Is it this end pin that's being a little bit of a nuisance? You will comply. Oh, it's starting to go through. Very tight fit. Oh, and it's snapped into place, so I don't think I'll need to tape that when I solder it. Although I am disappointed in the pads. They've trimmed the board so, hopefully that was on camera, they've trimmed the board so close that they've actually cut slightly into the pads. So that's flush with the board. I'm not going to have too many issues with that to solder it. I'll get my helping hands out, and then hopefully I can do this all on camera so you can see it. Sorry for the glare and the reflection. I've obviously got to be able to see what I'm doing. So, again, soldering on cameras, kind of a new thing for me. I want you to be able to see what I'm doing, but it can be a bit tricky. So again, I'm going to put that fan on. Right, get this lead. I've got so many cables and attachments here in order for me to be able to film this, so bear with me. Some of them are coming into shot that shouldn't be. So I've got my solder. Can I get in? Can we come in a little bit on this? Okay, so you can see the pins that I've got to solder there. Just clean my bolt off. Tin them up a little bit. Fan on. So six pins to solder. So we'll get some in on the end pin first. And then 6 smaller ones. Always fun. Try not to get solder bridges. Oops. As it's a double-sided board as well, I'm just holding it on long enough so that the solder can go right up and through. Hopefully that's on camera. I know I'm zoomed in at the moment. Right, I'll come this way. Let's see if I better come in this way with it. On the pad and on the pin. Bit fiddly. I could have probably done my smaller tip. And all I'm doing there is feed the solder in, and then you wait for it to sink away, then you know it's went through to the top pad. That needs a bit more. Oops. Yeah, this helping hands thing's not really. And I've got a solder bridge there. I'm not worrying about that at the moment. Right, let's get rid of this solder bridge because it does have one. And it has it right there. So let's just go in, give it a wee flick. Oh, it should be that way. Now I'm just going to have a closer look. Are they all soldered okay? That one looks a bit shitty. Oh, that's that one touched up. It doesn't help when half the pad itself is actually missing. Right, I managed to get those. Zoom back out. Okay. Yeah, I have got other things for holding boards for soldering, but helping hands, these are great. They're only a couple of pound off the Amazons and eBays and stuff. Yeah, Lergy's still kicking in. Right, so that's that done. Shall I trim off any little excess? All my tools are off to my right here. Shall I trim off the excess off those little pins? Now I wear spectacles when you're cutting the little legs off of these. Make sure you've got eye protection on, because or cover it with your finger, because they do tend to, especially if you've got sharp cutters, spring off. So okay, I have got that switch on. I've got that on. I now have to remove. Is that the next bit? Is that what it's telling me? Well, it's not telling me to do that yet. Pin header. Alright, hold on. I was wondering when it was going to ask me to remove that other resistor. Right, pin header, male. That's just the 4-in line one. J2. So that's this one, the 4-pin header. So we're looking for J2. And you can see all the DSO 150. I'm just trying to match it up with the picture so I get it on the right side. Right, there's J2 on the board there. And that looks the same as kind of the same as that picture. It's on that side. They're not very clear. Right, so it's 4 pins. So I'm just trying to think about how it all goes together, because that 4-pin is for when the rotary encoder gets soldered to this little thing, and then it gets dropped over that 4-pin. So I would say, yeah, it gets soldered in there. Now I've got to hold that in whilst I solder it on this side. That might be fun. So I think again I'll employ the use of a little bit of tape just to hold it in. Again, apologies if this is a bit long-winded and my sniffles are getting on your nerves. There we go. Right, so just to try and stop it making a bid for freedom, a little bit of masking tape. It's maybe not going to be perfect, but I just need it to hold it in place till I can get at least one pin soldered. So let's get it in the helping hands again. Right, will that rest on there? So we're soldering here. Right, well, I'll try. Do excuse me, I'm going to put the fan on again, the extractor fan. Let's see if we can zoom in a bit on the bit that I'm going to be soldering. Right, there's 4 pins there. The square one on the right is actually the positive pin. I'm just cleaning off my bolt, turn it up a little bit, and I'm just going to do 1 pin. I'll do the positive pin. Okay, and then I can take it out of the helping hands and take off this piece of tape. And what I now want to check is that everything is still flush, and if it's not, I can adjust it now. Oops, sorry, I forgot I was still zoomed in. I want to make sure it's flush, well lined up. It appears to be. At the right angle of the angle, which means I can solder all the other pins. If it had been squint, I would have heated up that 1 pin and reflowed it. So let's get the other 3 done. Clean off my bolt. A wee bit of a tin up. And because it's a double-sided board, as I say, I'm just letting the bolt sit on it for a bit longer so that the solder can go up through the vias. So we have the... Oh, I should have turned off all my notifications, but anyway. Right. Those 4 are soldered. So let's clip off the excess. Yeah, you can tell after... Oh, that one went pedoing. After being away from doing videos for a period of time. Oh, that one didn't go too well. That wasn't soldered. Dry joint on that one. Right, I've got a couple of dry joints. I think I actually need to put my optivisor on so I can see what I'm doing. You can see close up. Because of the camera itself, can't really do it through the camera, so I need to rework all of those. That's a terrible solder joint. Yeah, I'm trying to do it through the camera and it's not working. And the optivisor's not really helping either, so right, okay, I'll give it another go. I've got so many things in front of my face at the moment, it's Terry always goes quiet when he's concentrating. Oh, solder bridge. Yep, I think I'm done this time. I shall go off camera just for a second so I can have a closer visual inspection, because I'm trying to do this through the... Right, they've all worked this time. Right, that's fine. Take my optivisor back off. Right, so what's it wanting us to do next? It's wanting us to put all the tactile switches in. Okay. So there's 4 of those. Doesn't really say anything other than put the 4 in, and I think they only go one way because of the spacing. But they don't really clip in. Oh, I thought they would clip in better than that. So I guess it's time for the tape to come back out again to hold it in whilst I get a tack on it. So what I'll do is I'll do one on camera, and whilst I'm on this side, I'll get rid of that resistor that we were talking about. So we're going for these 4 pins here. Again, I'm just going to do one to start with. Make sure I get it flush. So let's see if I can zoom it in a bit for you. Okay. So we'll just tin my soldering bolt. Fan back on. Apologies. Tin this one. Okay, and then I can pull the tape off it again, and all I'm wanting to check, zoom it back out, is that everything is still flush. Now, as you will see with me holding that on for a bit, the solders come right through. As I say, it's a double-sided board. Is it raised up? It is slightly raised up. So this is why I only do 1 pin. I don't know if you can see that it's actually raised up at that side. Not a problem. I just come in with the bolt and I'm on camera. I shall apply a bit of heat to this side and push it in. And that is it now, down flush. But this is why I only do the one pin at a time. Now that that's all nice and flush, I'll be safe to do the other pins on that. Now, whilst I'm on this underside, there's this R30 that I've got to get rid of. So I might as well do that. Try and get some support on there. So the easiest way of doing that although I do have another tool for removal of small components. Let's see if we can zoom in and let you see where this R30 link is. 0 ohm link. It's just there. This tiny little thing. So generally what you do with these is we'll get the bolt tinned up nicely. I might actually just look through this to see what I'm doing and apply heat to one part. Oh, it's off straight away. See how I've just swept it off there? It will come off. Where is it? There's a tiny little... I've got it. One resistor removed. Sorry, you didn't see me tapping about there, but I was trying to get the little 0 ohm link off my... Just turn that back up. To see if I could actually find it, to show you how small it is. Is that it? Oh, it's just a solder ball. Not worrying about it, because it won't be getting reused. That's that off. So I have got 3 more tactile switches to put in. I've showed you the method that I use for doing it. What I'll do is I'll do that off camera, and I'll come back once I've got the 3 tactiles on, because you don't know what I watch me doing repetitions. So yeah, I'll do that bit next, and see you in a minute or two. Hey guys, welcome back. Right, whilst I was off camera, I found that little 0 ohm link. Let's see if we can... That's how small this little thing is. That was that little resistor that I removed. It's an 0403. It's a really, really small thing. So I did find it. Stick it up there out of the way. So what I went and done off camera, as I said I would, was I fitted the rest of the tactile switches. Man flu's kicking in. We're getting later in the evening. So they're all soldered in. So that is basically, this is what they call the digital board. The digital board part done. Woohoo, exciting stuff. So looking at the instructions, it's quite funny. I enjoy Chinglish. Because it's like assembly the main board. Assembly the main, yeah, it's Chinglish. So now we're going to assembly the analog board. Or assemble even. So it covers resistors, but all the resistors are all the little surface mount ones. It's quite interesting, it gives you all the values. Ceramic capacitors, again, they're all the small ones. We've got we've got a switch to put on it. So the analog board is this baby here. This one. Okay. And we have to put onto it a switch. So that's our other switch. So that's that one. That'll be the first bit. And then 3 electrolytic capacitors, which will be nice and easy. 3 of those. The BNC connector, that might be fun to solder on because it's thermal mass. The other, is it 10 pin male header? And then it's telling you you're finished and you've just got to set it up. The setup looks like a bit of a faff, but we shall see how we get on. Oh, and then we've got to do rotary encoder and stuff. So let's get on with, as I say, the assembly, the analog board. And the first part is slide switch, which is switch 1. So it's a 2-pole but 3-throw, because it has 3 positions. So here is the board. So we're looking for a switch SW1. Okay, that's on the board there. Hopefully you can see that. And this is switch SW1. What way up does it go? Good thing is it shows you an actual finished board here, so you can get a bit of a clue. It's up the way on the same way up as the rest of the chips, next to the two tuning capacitors. So we're hoping that this will go in there. So I reviewed the first part of the footage, and good news for me is you can't really hear you can hear my fan kicking in when I'm soldering. You can also hear my voice above it. The fan's quite important because it draws away the flux fumes, which are not the best thing to be breathed in. Although I've probably breathed in quite a lot of them in my younger days. I worked in the electronics for a wee while, and yeah, nowadays everything has to have extraction. So yeah, it's a good idea if you're going to be doing a lot of soldering to actually have some form of extraction. So apologies that my extractor does make a little bit of noise. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go for one of the outside pins, solder that, and I better get my soldering bolt back onto preheat. This is not my best helping hand. It tends to wobble about a bit. What I also found was this is the first time I've actually tried filming soldering on camera, because there's a wee electricity series I'm going to be doing for some people who are more into the model making side of things, and yeah, it's quite awkward when you've got a camera between your face and what you're soldering. It makes it a lot more difficult to see things. So actually, I'll bring my seat height down, that might help me, so I'm a bit closer to it. I shall bring the camera in a bit whilst my soldering bolt is heating up. So this is the section we're going to be soldering here. This is all the switch contacts. So the good thing is, I can't see us being too long before we're finished this, so I'm just waiting my bolt heating up. As I say, you may find this video has been a little bit long for some of you, but that's what the fast forward button's for. If somebody's got one of these kits and needs to see how it's all done, they may prefer, oops, sorry, knocked the camera, they may prefer a slightly longer, more in-depth video. And as I always say, you don't have to watch it all, and that's what the fast forward button's for. Right, so I'll just clean my bolt and get, I'm going to put the fan back on again, so there will be a little bit of fan noise. If I can get the switch. So a bit of noise from the fan there. Now let's just turn our bolt up. Right. So we're, again, as with the last time, I might be able to bring you in a bit on it. There we go. We're just going to go for one pin, and we'll go for the big side pin on the switch first. We'll zoom that back out, and this should allow me to get all level and everything. Right, so that's not level with the board. You can see how it's slightly off. Now obviously this gets a bit hot because of the heat transfers up through the switch, but hopefully I can heat it up quick enough just to reflow this and push it back into the board, and you should be able to see it. He says hopefully. You see how that clicked in there? And that's now, the heat's starting to travel up, ouchie ouchie. But that's now in all totally flush, which means I can now, as that one pin is all holding it in place, I think I will, because there's so many pins in it, I'll come and do this other one and check that it also goes in level. so bear with me. Tin my bolt, just to get some of that flux going. Let's get this other one done. I'm just going to double check again that it's still all level. Still a fair bit of heat on that, but I'm going to see if it pushes down at all when I reflow it. No, right, that's fine. That means I can do all the other pins. Now these are quite small, so I would probably have been better with a smaller tip. But I've dropped myself down a bit closer to it so I can see what I'm doing, and hopefully this time round I'll not get loads of solder bridges and everything, and it'll all work. So let's get these done. So I'm not holding the heat, going to hold the heat on these for too long, because the switches inside can melt a bit, and I don't want that to happen. As I say, a smaller tip sometimes better, but horses for courses. Let's see if I can get this one in. I think my biggest problem at the moment is my helping hands keeps moving about. And that's giving me more issues because I'm trying to solder something that's wobbling. And the last pin. Right, so I'll just do a quick visual inspection on it. Make sure all the joints are all okay. There's no solder bridges. That looks alright, that'll do. That'll do. Right. I'm just letting these ping off because I'm crazy like that. Right, AC DC ground. So this is the switch that flicks between all the different modes. A double pole but 3 positions. So that's that one. Excuse me. Right, 3 electrolytic capacitors, and it shows you the positions. There, and there. The positive pad is a square pad, and all of them. Sorry, need to blow the hooter again. So that square pad is the positive in them all, and on an electrolytic, and I was laughing because I was going to like Ching Chong, they're actually called Chong. Cheap Chinese capacitors, but yeah. So 100 microfarad capacitors. The longest lead is always the positive, okay, and the negative one's a shorter one, and usually in an electrolytic there's a band goes down the side so that you know that that's the negative side. So if we look into the board, so we want to have the positive going down the positive hole, and the line should go on the negative. Right, now, best way to solder these. I could bend it slightly. Is it holding it in enough? Nah, the holes on the board are actually too big for the components. You sometimes get that, they just put, when you're designing your board, you can do different hole pitches. So there we go. That's it there. So what I'll do is I'll just do my usual. Fan on. I'll just do one leg first. and then I can see if I can get the cap square. So let's get in on it, get some solder on it. Okay, let's unclip that, take my tape off. Right, so we can see it's a little bit skew width on the board, it's not perfectly square. So all I'm going to do there is reflow one leg, and hopefully, oh, CFE, get it sitting nice and square. There we go. And I can solder up the other one. Try to hold the bolt at an angle that you guys can actually see what I'm doing. So we'll just reflow that one a bit more. There we go. Nice and square. Now you didn't want to hold the heat on capacitor electrolytics for too long, because it can shorten their life. They do have a temperature rating on them. So yeah, ideally you don't want to be holding the heat in it for too long, but just double check in. The positive was on that side, negative on that side. Again with this one, positive on this side, negative on that side. Stick the tape over it temporarily just to stop it falling totally through. We'll do the same, solder one pin. Hopefully you can still see what I'm doing. And dab a solder on, off, tape off. Reflow it so the capacitor goes flush. There we go. Solder the other one up. As I say, my biggest issue here is the helping hands floating about. It's not the most solid thing. Come on, get a solder. It's not such a clever joint. There we go, that's better. Just holding my finger over the end there so it doesn't ping up into the air. Right, one more electrolytic capacitor. That's that one, that one. Right, so the positive, oh, keep it on camera. Positive is up the way on this one. Negative is down the way, so the stripe to the bottom. Yeah, a lot of components that I fit, that they're not quite as loose in the slots as that, so they've got the holes slightly too big. Ah, well. Nothing they can't overcome. A bit more solder out. Oops, sorry, knocked the camera. I'm an amateur, I'm not a professional. I've got a lot of friends that'll agree with the amateur side of it, but anyway, right, there we go. Right, so let's just get some solder on this pad, on this leg, like so. Get tape off it again. It's not quite flush, so holding pressure on from this side. Try to do it so you guys can see. just reflow that solder, let's it in. Is that done? Clip these two off. So that's the electrolytics done. So I now have 3 capacitors. Okay, so the main thing with electrolytics is they are polarity sensitive. So you just have to make sure that the positive goes in the positive, which is identified on these by a square pad, and the negative goes on the other one, and obviously the band is towards the negative. So that's pretty much those. Right, so I've done the switch, I've done the capacitors, next it's wanting the BNC. Now that's a big beastie. There's quite a lot of thermal mass to this, because it's got a big metal body on it. Let's see if I pull this back a little bit. Get back more into the centre of shot. Excuse me. Dreaded lurgy. Right. So this just sits in here like so. I'm going to try and get it squarish. How's it looking? Doesn't look too bad, does it? We can get a bit of fine tuning on it. So I'm thinking if I solder that top left pin first, when I want to do any adjustment, yeah, it wants to flex a little. So this will be one of the more difficult parts to solder because it has a high metal content, a high thermal mass. So I may or may not have to turn my soldering bolt up a bit. We shall soon find out. Hoping the bolt's got enough to do it. But if I can get one pin done, as always, the rest should be pretty easy. And I think after that, there's only one more thing to solder, which is the wee switch. Oh no, we've got a 5-pin header to do after this. So just to help with the flow a bit, I am putting some extra solder on, and I'm letting it sit for quite a bit because it needs to get quite a bit of heat through it. And this is where I don't know if my bolt has enough thermal capacity or not for to do it, and this is the only way I'll find out. So yeah, they said between a 20 and a 25 watt iron for doing most of the parts. Can't even remember what wattage mine's is. But you need between a 50 to 100 watt is recommended for doing this BNC connection. Let's try to see if anything's happening here yet. Or is it all just, oh, it might be getting it. Yeah, it's going. Oh, and as soon as you take the bolt off again, it's hi up, bugger. Right. Oh, excuse my language. Right. Now, obviously, I have got it, but it's not square. It's obviously hot. So I'm going to just try pushing it down on the bench because this is heat proof. And I'm going to use that to allow me to a fair amount of heat. That's still not 100% in. Right. You will comply. Right. I need to get it down a bit more. Just want to stick out that wee bit in it. is quite hot at the moment. Sorry, I'm slightly off camera. Yeah, I knew the BNC would be fun, but it's getting there. Ouch, 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 ouch. It needs to come in a bit. It's still proud of the board a little bit. Little things, if I start putting things under it, it takes away from the heat of it. I shall give it a go though. It just needs to come a bit more. Alright, okay. Oh, sorry, knocking the camera. It's just being a little bit fiddly, isn't it? Right, I'm coming off the edge of the table a bit to do this, but let's see, because I need to get that sitting flush. At least it's still retaining most of its heat. Right. So it's that way I need to go with it. I need to come down at the back. It's been a while since I've done anything with quite as much thermal mass as this, so yeah, my bolt's obviously up to the job. I think I've got that one done now. But yeah, so if you've only got a wee 25 watt iron, you're probably going to struggle with these outer earthing shield pins. Let's see, how's that got it? Yeah, that looks level. It's going to be bloody hot. Right, and the little pin at the back, that should be a piece of cake, because it's a bit smaller. And it is. That's the one that goes up through the plastic. So as you see, there's a plastic insulator up the middle. So that last pin that I did was a little copper one. It just runs down the middle and comes down to the back there. But these two side ones are actually part of this big metal body, and that's why you need to put a lot of heat in it. So it was a bit of a faff about to get it square. Whoa, barely making noises, but I did it. But so I'm just going to let that cool down a bit. Get my camera back to a... Excuse me, I forgot to put my fan on there. Right, so I have got another pin header to put on. Oh, which is this one. And let's see with the instructions. It's pointing up on the side that everything is populated. Yeah, points up same way as the capacitors. Obviously this will still be hot. Yep. The heat does transfer through the board as well in these, because there's quite a lot of shielding on this as well. The big ground planes. So, right, how bent are these? This is a usual thing. Oh, not too bad. Okay, we're not too shabby there. Oh, come on in, insulating tape. Stop sticking to things you're not supposed to be sticking to. Right, so I just want to hold that the best I can until I can get one pin down. And I'm actually going to lay it, seeing as we've got some proud parts now, I'm going to lay it flat on the bench. Will that work? Excuse me, it's sniffing away. let's give this a go. Right. So we're going for, I'll just go for 1 to start with of these 8 little pins. There we go. Right. Save you listening to me sniffling for another minute or two. I'm just going to cut away, and because I've got so many pins to solder on this, it's quite hard to do under the camera. I'll do it off camera and come back in a second. And we're back. Right, yeah. I'm still sniffing. So I've got that pin header all soldered on now. This one here. It was easier for me not doing it under the camera because I had 10 pins to solder. You obviously, you've seen how to solder, so I don't have to show you absolutely everything. That's this analog board finished. And it even looks kind of like the picture. Yeah, my analog board is finished, and so is my digital board. So, there's one more piece of soldering, which is a rotary encoder, before basically we're going into setup. Now, I'm wondering whether to split the video after soldering the rotary encoder, and then going into final setup and assembly, because we're over an hour already. So I think that's what I'll do. I'll solder up this rotary encoder, and then I'll bung everything together. As I say, it's going to be about an hour's video of this, so you can fast forward through parts and get to the bits that you want to see. So the last part of soldering is a rotary encoder, so I will do that next. And then while that's compiling, I'll go and do the assembly, final test and all that. That'll be the third and final part of the video, which gives me more time to play about with it and see what it does and stuff like that. So, yeah, last part, solder rotary encoder, mount the small PCB, pay attention to orientation of the PCB, use the side with the outline marking on it. So, this side has an outline marking on it, and it's all to do with lining up the positives on here, because this will go inside this from the back. So if I solder the switch on that way, when it goes over, the pluses will line up. That's the idea. So that will hook over like that with the encoder on, and then I'll have 4 more pins to solder, but yeah, that's basically the size of it. Okay, rotary encoder switch. It's got 3 pins at one end, 2 at the other, and 2 big sort of clips. So let's see if we can get this baby to go in. I'm expecting it might click in no problem. It's not bad actually. What do I solder first? Right, there is a bit of free play and wiggle. So I'm going to solder, I'll just put my soldering bolt back on. I think I will solder one corner up here, and then one corner down here, and then once it's all level, I can solder everything in all nice and flush. Now, is this going to fall out as I'm soldering it? It might drop a bit, so yeah. So rotary encoder switch, it's a bit different from, I haven't really covered resistors in my electricity series for people, but rotary encoder is different. It's a digital rotary switch. It has a push button on it and digital segments on it. And it's read by the various chips inside. Whilst my bolt was heating up, for those of you guys that are actually into all the chips and stuff that are in this, on the analog board, some of you guys are really into it. just while my solder bolts on. So, two of the main chips on it, on the analog logic, is 74HC4053 and a surface mount 16-pin package, and a 74HC4051. They seem to be the main sort of big analog chips on there. What's that? 78LO5, that's and this 89 package, that's a 5V regulator. ICL7660 and a surface mount 8-pin, no idea what that does. A 79LO5 and a sort of 89, again that seems like a, when you go LO5 it's usually voltage regulation. Quite interesting that the resistors are 1%, 1% tolerance, which is quite a, they're usually quite expensive, but they're just in surface mount 0805 packages. And the two adjustable caps on it are 30 picofarads, and all the other wee capacitors are 0805s, and they're all 0.1 microfarads. So yeah, just for those that are into all the chip kind of side of things. Right, is my soldering bolt hot enough now, after I've just mumbled away? Yeah, so I'll call it quits after this one. Again, apologies that the video's about an hour long, but I like to go into a lot of detail. I would rather go into too much detail for people. And people can fast forward past the bits they don't want to watch, than not go into enough and people go, oh, I wish you'd shown me doing that bit. So I think it's easier just to film a lot, and you can decide how much of it you want to watch. Right, so that's that pin right in and flush to the board. So let's do one on the other corner. Excuse me, I forgot to put my fan on. It's the solder fumes that's good for me when I have the cold. My voice is usually quite bassy anyway, so yeah, it's a bit more nasally. So I'm just going to get this corner pin done, so I can make sure it's pushed down fully on this corner as well. Oh god, my voice is really going. There we go. So that rotary encoder should now be flush with the board, which it is. So as I say, it's is it? Yeah, it's good enough. So it's got a push, click, and a lot of, you can feel each little graduation on it. So right, pretty straightforward. Solder this up. 2 more pins on the top. One, 2, 1 on the bottom, and then these rather large pads, which are sort of main retaining. Just make sure I've got my solder out, because this will probably swallow it up quite quick. There's quite a bit of thermal mass on these, so something. Quite a big joint. Just making sure I get enough heat through it for it to sit on, and that's that one done. And the board is extremely warm. But that, right, I haven't got, right, that corner and that corner need touched up. And that's the problem with doing it under the camera. You can't really see what you're up to. So This one needs reflowed as it's got a bit of a dry joint on it. Done. And this one done. In fact, I'll just check them all. Because there's a camera between me and the thing, I can't quite see what I'm doing as well, as if there was no camera in front of me. Right, so the rotary encoder, the rather warm, ouchy rotary encoder's done. You'll notice that the solders come up through the board, through the legs. With it being double-sided, you want to make sure you do that, because it could be there's a trace on the top side that needs a direct connection to the pin, and if you don't get the solder to wick all the way up through, you might get a poorer intermittent connection. That's only on the double-sided board. So if it's a single-sided board, no problem. If it's double-sided, you need to make sure that the solder penetrates up and through. Right, now it actually says when you go to put this together, so where are we? We're on to right, fit LCD to front panel. Okay, we'll see how we go. So fit LCD to front panel as shown below. Right, a bit of fun now. Ha 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 ha. Right, let's get that out of the way. Right. So this is the front panel on its own, like these. I won't need those pliers, get those out of the way, tidy your bench up a bit, Terry. Right, I've still got my soldering bolt on because there is a wee bit still to solder. Right, so I can get the masking tape that was stopping this flapping about off. I shall also remove the protective film off. Maybe not a wise move knowing me with my fingerprints, but right, okay, so that's a protective film off. And then I need to offer this up. I'll switch this fan off. For now, I need to offer this screen up to this so that it sits fully in, like so. Yep. Is this when it stops playing ball? Okay, that's it right up on that edge. And it kind of pushes in as well. Okay, so. And then fold. Whilst keeping the LCD in place, fold the main board over. And it should slot over these two locators. Okay, that looks fine. Right. And then mount the rotary encoder board to the front plate with screws. Which screws? Short ones, I'm assuming. Right, so that one there. So this rotary encoder will go on like that, over there like that, and then these 4 pins should come through, because that's the next bit I need to solder. Right. That's interesting. Fix it with the screws, but it doesn't. It's not a flush mounting. Fit it with the screws, but you see the big gaps? Maybe it's meant to be like that. I don't know. That's a bit It's a bit weird. The screen's still in place. So lay it down gently. Yeah, the rotary encoder doesn't go all the way down. I'll wait out, obviously, because it's got to go through the front of the panel, innit? Terry, you're a fool. It does once you get it through the front of the panel, so I need to leave this bit elevated off the thing a bit. I have got something I can use actually. Let's get a bit of a couple of bits of this. Something off to my side that you can't see. Right. Right, under there and under there to allow the knob to go right in. Right, how's it looking with the screen and everything? Screen's still okay. Obviously that needs to be quite tight on there. So to save this coming adrift, that's me getting fingerprints all over my screen already. I'm useless. Right, that needs to make sure that that's all the way in. Which it is. Right. Keep that sandwiched to that. And that sandwiched to that. Right. So when I press down on the back, that's all the way through. It should be kind of central. That's not really, is it? Yeah, it's a bit. Okay. We'll find out when the button goes on, eh? Yeah. Excuse me. Coughing in your ear. I wonder, can I get this on now? Would that help hold things together? Or am I better wait until I've screwed it all together? Yeah, I'll wait till I've screwed it all together. And I'm assuming it's just 2 small screws. So they want me to screw it together first before soldering it. So, I do have some small ones. So there's one. So I've got enough head on it. Okay, there's one. There's 2. So I'm assuming there's small ones then. It doesn't tell you. Again, I'm waffling on again. KA 2mm before. 2.3 by 8s. That's 4 for the back, so that's the big ones. So it's the wee ones then. Right. So, is this my Phillips? There we go. It wants me to screw these little babies in. Oh well, here goes. See if I can get started. It's not very square, Terry. Try again. Mind you, the holes are not exactly square either. Little self-dippery doodies. Oh, you can't really see what I'm doing here. Right, so encoder gets screwed into the back. Like that. Yeah. And spacing along it's a bit... how's you doing? And then it wants me to solder them on once I've done that, but will it fit properly with this switch in the... Yeah, I don't know. Because that needs to go there, that sits in that. Let's put this shroud on, just for a matter of interest. Because that would then fit... Obviously I've got tape and stuff in it now, but that's supposed to fit in there like that. Okay. Obviously without the tape. And then... Fiddle, 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 get in. Huh. Not exactly square, is it? How would we for a DC power jack? Alright, okay, it fits. It's a bit warped, but I expect the case will pull itself together. Right. Now solder those 4 pins, I think, now that I know it actually goes in. A cool looking wee thing though. I think I'll solder those 4 pins now, and that'll be all the soldering done. And then, because my nose is running really bad, we'll go into the final assembly in the next video. Final assembly and testing. So I've just got 4 pins to solder. Let you see where those are. There we go. I can hear the wind howling out there. Fan on. Alright, so 4 pins to solder. There's one. Two. 3. And 4. Right, no more soldering. Yay! So that's what fixes the front to the back. Lovely. I can turn my soldering bolt off. Excellent. Obviously I've used all this. I just want to make sure everything's lined up before I soldered anything. Because it would be just my luck that it would be out of line because of the soldering on these pins. That's right. So apologies for all the long-windedness. We're in the final stages. Obviously I'm going to pull this back out the case. Now that I know that all that lines up okay. The main things there was making sure that the screen and everything was in flush and all that kind of thing, which it appears to be all hunky-dory. And the next part is we actually have to do... Now I think this is going to be a bit of an interesting one to put on because it's a bit malformed on the end, so yeah, we'll see how we get on with that. But all the testing it's wanting me to do is on the back of Oh, I've still got that other board to put in, haven't I? Yeah. I still have to put on... Take this off. Still have to mount the analog board. So where does it go? Is it that way? Yeah, because there's an 8-pin header on that, isn't there? So that has to go... Those 8 pins have to go in there like so. Like that. Like sandwich. And... yeah. That's pretty cool actually. I like that. And then that'll have to go on at this end. You've got to put it on like that and then twist it. Right, okay. Your AC, DC ground, 1 kilohertz and all that popping out the back. Does it tell you need to screw that on or anything? Attach the analog board. Right, aye, so the next part's going to be another video because it asks you to check voltages with a multimeter. So we have to apply power to it again, and then we have to check on points around here that the voltages match up, and if they match up then apparently we're good to go on to the next stage of setting up. So yeah, I'll call it quits there. Apologies it's a long-winded video. Apologies I'm choked with a cold or a man flu and I've been sniffling and coughing all the way through it, but I hope you've enjoyed it all. This is going to be a really long video. Again, apologies for that, but some people like to see it in a lot of detail. As always, do feel free to leave a comment in the section down below. Do keep it constructive. What you might want to see more of or less of or whatever. And also feel free to follow me on Patreon. It helps support the channel and let me get more wee gadgets and bits and bobs to share with you guys. Put the link up there. So until the next time, enjoy your hobby and look after yourself. Bye.